I'm Cynthia Izaguirre in Dallas with a look at your headlines in North Texas. We start with new reaction to the death of a civil rights leader. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is being remembered as a trailblazer who changed American politics. As tributes pour in from around the nation, Scoop Jefferson shows us the impact Jackson had here in North Texas.
But our nation is rainbow, red, yellow, brown, black, and white.
He really does inspire me.
The reason Chris House Sr. is big on community service, the late Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr.
I immediately, reflected back to the time that I had the opportunity to meet him over at Ball Quinn College.
Eventually sitting at the same table with Jackson. Today, Hal runs his own foundation, helping others across DFW.
You have that sphere of influence. And I admire Reverend Jackson for being able to try and use his voice.
Civil rights icon Reverend Jesse Jackson, dead at 84, leaving behind a legacy of faith, activism, and hope. Even recently impacting young people like Channing Hill from Euless, visited by Jackson during her Howard University protest sit-in about campus conditions.
I remember feeling like I wasn't alone, like there were giants who were willing to fight for me as well.
And I was in this group called the Progressive Black Student Organization. There I am.
Fort Worth community leader Reverend Kiev Tatum met Jackson as a young person too, most recently getting life-changing advice from the Reverend before his missionary trip to console families after the shooting tragedy in Uvalde.
He said, Tatum, he said, don't be political, be spiritual.
Now, as the country says farewell to Reverend Jackson,
He showed up over decades. Decade after decade, he continued to show up.
His mantras, I am somebody, and keep hope alive, live on.
Keep hope alive, and that hope, it only stays alive through us.
Even in those moments when you don't feel like you're someone, you are someone.
Red or yellow, black and white, everybody's somebody, And that was just a powerful message.
In Fort Worth, I'm Scoop Jefferson.
A woman killed inside her own apartment, and now her boyfriend is in police custody. Her family just told Brittany Costello about the signs they noticed and their fight to raise the couple's child.
Talia Sanchez was 26 years old.
Very full of life, happy and joyful.
And entering a new chapter of life.
It changed her completely. It was no longer about herself anymore.
Everything revolved around her 7-month-old son, Levi.
She adored him and he adored her.
Sanchez's aunt, Teresa Levitt, says they hadn't heard from them in several days when Talia's mother called police to her Fort Worth apartment last Wednesday. Police say they found Sanchez dead inside.
Then it turned into, where's Levi? Where did the baby go?
Attention turned to Levi's father, Elijah Jacobo, who lived with them. Levitt says they discovered Jacobo had taken the baby to family in New Mexico where he left him. Fort Worth police officer Cynthia Wood says law enforcement caught up with him in El Paso.
When your information is entered into a warrant for a crime such as this, somebody's going to encounter you.
He's now facing charges related to Sanchez's death.
There were signs.
Levitt says months earlier, Talia had called police about a domestic violence incident.
She wanted to stay with him and keep her family together for the sake of Levi. She didn't want him to come from a broken home.
Now, they say his world is shattered.
They had a picture blown up of her to put in my sister's house. And when Levi saw it, he lunged forward to grab that picture.
They know the road ahead is a long one.
Just knowing that he was there in the room when his mom died, like what kind of horrible thinking is that?
They are asking for donations to cover everything from funeral expenses to legal fees as the family now pursues custody of Levi.
It's a completely different thing to know a mother and a mother's love, and he'll not have that.
They have just one message.
If somebody's hurting you, they're not going to change. Don't believe the lie and leave. You need to leave.
In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
A barber transformed his shop into a sensory-friendly experience, and now he's taking social media by storm. Tiffany Liu shows us why it means so much to children and their parents.
You want to take it off?
From the weighted cape.
I don't think he liked nothing around his neck.
To none. From the floor to the chair.
Shake, shake.
Quentin decides how he wants this haircut done.
All right, come on, one.
And Henry Amolija makes it happen.
We found him on social media.
Most people know Henry as the sensory-friendly barber behind the weighted cape.
That's essentially how it all started.
He invented a barber's cape with weights around the collar, a comfort for many clients he realized fills a greater need for those with neurodivergence.
I took my first sensory haircut December 2024. And things just kind of skyrocketed from there.
Through social media, Henry makes social impact, sharing his sensory-friendly haircuts with the world. Quentin and his parents met Henry last summer.
His odds were against him.
Born prematurely,
hydrocephalus ex vacuo is what he's been diagnosed with. And he actually has only, I would say about 20% of his brain on the left side.
Quentin survived a stroke in the womb, a brain bleed, and a seizure at birth.
That's what you hope for. That's what you want, is someone to understand your kid just a little bit more. And Henry gives him that chance to do so.
With patience and love for their 3-year-old son, it quickly made Henry and his assistant Acacia family.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Henry's work is a calling, so much that he's expanding from this 100-square-foot room in Deep Ellum to a 900-square-foot sensory dream in Richardson.
Wherever he goes, we're leaving, we're going with him.
Henry is calling it Trimmy's, and in a few weeks, once he and Acacia unpack, the clients will step into Trimmy's world. From the lobby and waiting room to the sights of Jumanji and Apollo.
A lot of these kids' toys and fidgets, they ain't cheap.
All the sensory-friendly toys given are proof of his impact.
People donate a lot of the toys that are using here.
Beyond the toys, $140,000 was also donated to support Henry's mission,
which was able to cover every sensory haircut session we're going to do for 2026, as well as help us expand into our new space.
He hopes more stylists and barbers will join him.
There's thousands and thousands of families who struggle with haircuts.
Quentin, with a fresh fade,
You want to pop some bubbles?
is one of many who make this journey worth it.
It's amazing what a haircut does.
I'm Tiffany Liu.
All right, come on, pop the bubbles.
As we get closer to spring and summer, there's a new spot to grab a sweet treat to cool down. Sean Giggy went to check out the chain that just opened its first store in the U.S. right here in North Texas.
On a scale of 1 to 10, ice cream is always a 10. But not here, because this place is on a scale of its own. It's called Kelvin Scale.
We offer the best ice cream, the freshest ice cream.
Kelvin Scale started in India, where it's incredibly popular. So popular, Sandeep Bandi wanted to bring it to the States and opened the very first American location in Frisco.
I think that's where we found that there is a gap.
What sets Kelvin Scale apart? First, everything is made from scratch, whether it's fresh milk or fresh fruit. And that milk is A2 milk, which some people say is easier to digest. Lastly, a lot of places add air to ice cream to make it lighter and cheaper. Kelvin Scale doesn't, meaning you get more ice cream and less air in every bite.
It's a lot more creamier, it's a lot more fulfilling.
There's a rotation of 70 unique flavors like banana Biscoff, custard apple, or popcorn, with new flavors added regularly. Sandeep says small but important details make Kelvin Scale the cream of the crop.
Everyone should try our ice cream and they will feel the difference.
Kelvin Scale is what scientists use to measure temperature. And as a wannabe scientist myself, I'm happy to conduct this meaningful research.
Looks delicious. And those are your headlines from North Texas.